Ever since Dracula was unleashed on us in 1897 by Bram Stoker, no other name other than that of the vampire itself is more associated with vampires than that of Van Helsing. But how much do we really know about the scourge of the undead? We're about to find out a little bit more. Please join the conversation. Hey everybody, it's Eric with D3 Reads. Thanks for joining today. You can see that my surroundings are a little different than normal. I'm in my basement studio instead of up in my office where I normally do D3 Reads. This collection behind me is the area that I normally do Damper 3 videos in conjunction with Jeff. Damper 3 was the original channel that we started a few years ago now, but we've been doing a lot of focusing on D3 Reads, and I'm thinking about combining my studios, moving some of my office down here and doing these from here on out. So you might see the studio evolve a little bit. And today I want to talk to you about vampires. We've talked horror a lot over the last year. I think I've made it clear in a number of videos. Matter of fact, I did this video specific to some of the best vampire books out there, that of all the horror genre, my favorite is vampires. Now, they have to be the classic kind of vampires, you know, the definitely evil vampires, not the ones that are looking for boyfriends. Last week or two, I put out a video talking about books that I was disappointed in. And one of those books was Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. And in the comments section of that, I got into a discussion with a couple of folks, and they pointed out some really good insights about Queen of the Damned, and I was really appreciative of that. But that conversation got me thinking about vampire books and kind of whetted my appetite. I wanted to read another good vampire story. And it just so happens that a couple weeks ago, I finished up Stephen Graham Jones' The Only Good Indians, and I really enjoyed it. And I think Stephen Graham Jones is a fantastic writer. And it just so happens that this past year, he published The Buffalo Hunter, which is, I'm told, a really, really good vampire story. So I set my sights on that. I'm going out this weekend, as a matter of fact, I think, to get it. It's going to be a Father's Day gift if I have anything to say about it. But you can imagine my surprise, though, and delight when I saw this posted by none other than horror writer Joe Hill. What this is it's a link to an article by Fangoria that's talking about a movie coming out on July 11th called Abraham's Boys, a Dracula story. And so I clicked on the link because if Joe Hill's sharing it, it's got to be pretty good. And what I found after a couple of links is that this story, which is a really neat trailer, I'll put the link in the description, is based off of a short story written by Joe Hill and originally published back in 2004. It was originally compiled and published in 2004 in an anthology called The Many Faces of Van Helsing. And the following year, this story was rolled up into a bunch of other stories by Joe Hill and published under a book called 20th Century Ghosts. Now, this book went on to read, this Joe Hill collection wound up winning the Bram Stoker Award in 2005 for Best Collection. So it sounded really, really good. So you can imagine how excited I was to find out that the son of the author of Salem's Lot, which is my absolute favorite vampire book, has now got a Dracula story coming out, or has a Dracula story that I didn't know about, and is being made into a movie this year. So immediately I went to the interwebs and I started looking to see if I can get my hands on a copy of Abraham's Boys. And sure enough, I found it on Hoopla. So that I was excited about. So I checked it out immediately and what was available on Hoopla was 20th Century Ghosts. So I I checked it out and I went immediately to Abraham's Boys and read it. Now let me tell you, it is a short story. You know, it didn't take very long at all to read it. It is really good and it's jarring horror. Now the question is, should you read it before seeing the movie? And my answer to that is maybe not. And the reason why is, one is assuming that this is trying to be faithful to the short story. Now, this story is short, and they're putting out a full-length film on this. So the odds are they're going to take a lot of liberties in transferring this. Matter of fact, I know that they are, because they already put characters in the trailer that I know aren't in the book. So and they're going to take a lot of liberties on it. But if they keep the core of the story correct, then there's going to be some twists in there that you may not want to have tipped off to you when you see before you see the movie. So if you're like me, I'm one of those guys who likes to read the story before I see the movie adaptation. But in this case, you may not want to. You may want to be surprised by the movie. Now, if the movie winds up going a whole different route than what the story presents, then you can watch the movie, read the book, or read the story version of it, and then just be happy with two separate, vampire stories. But yeah, this 20th Century Ghosts. Now that I've got it checked out and I've read this one particular story, I'm going to go back and start reading other short stories in there because, I mean, this is a big year for Joe Hill and for his dad, Stephen King. Stephen King just had a book come out, Never Flinch, that I have not gotten yet, and I intend to. So I might be adding that to my Father's Day book haul this weekend. And then Joe has got a book coming out in October, King's Sorrow. And that has been on my TBR for months now as well. So it's really cool for me because, like I said, I had this hankering for a good vampire story. Just got done reading this Joe Hill work, and we got this movie coming out in July. So between that and getting Jones's The Buffalo Hunter, got some really good vampire fare out now. So that's where we stand with that. Now, if you watched last week's video, we were talking about military science fiction. Not to change the subject too much here, we'll roll that out probably next week. We're going to be talking about the best military science fiction books that were written by non-veterans. Last week, we published the best military science fiction by military veterans, which generated a lot of fantastic conversation. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do. And but I want to point you to the comment section of most of the videos because we get some really good discussions going on there. Folks who are offering their recommendations on books. Matter of fact, I'm one of the reasons why I'm delaying the non-veterans best military sci-fi is because I had some recommendations that I wanted to explore a little bit before I started putting that together. So check out last week's video if you haven't had a chance, and we will hopefully see you next week. Now, the problem is that I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So there's a possibility of a little disruption in our video schedule. We try to do these once a week. So if not, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Other than that, thank you guys so much for your time. Have a great day and keep reading.